There we go. All right, chat. Give us an AOS status check. Let us know that we have video and audio here. I'll stand off the road as well. But let us know that we are good to go, because it's time for some Falcon Heavy action. Chris, I think we're good. Looks like chat's got you.
Awesome. So welcome, folks, to Launch Complex 39A, right there in the background, where the Falcon Heavy rocket, the first Block 5 Falcon Heavy, is still horizontal as they're getting everything done with the rollout procedures and getting everything configured to go vertical at the pad. So as we said last just a few minutes ago, but for those of you who are new to the stream and just joining us, don't panic that it's still horizontal at this point. That is okay. There's a bus coming, Doss.
Thank you, sir. Not even really in the street that time.
So what SpaceX Public Affairs made clear to us on the bus before we came out here was that they are still on track to launch within our window tonight. So don't worry that it's still there. So for a bit of just for where we are, a bit of geographic positioning. So we are on the north side of 39A. So when you watch SpaceX launches and you see all that smoke come flying out the back of the flame trench and everything, that's where we are. Not where the smoke will reach, thankfully, because of all the cameras here. But that's our sort of orientation. So just to our, so where you're looking at the rocket, if you go just to the right, and then go straight out, that's where pad B is, where NASA's SLS pad is, and then behind us is, and then behind pad A, that you can't see from the scrub brush, is where the Atlas V launch pad is, and where the Falcon launch pad is at Slick 40. So that's a good geographic orientation for you of where we are. From this side, when they go vertical, this is where you'll be able to see the entire rocket completely unobscured. The TE is on the back of it, so this is a good place to set cameras. So we're really looking forward to all the shots we get from here and to really be able to see the rocket. So are there any questions on the Twitch chat that we can go through? If you've got questions, send them through to the Twitch chat. If you go to the link I sent out, if you're watching from there, there's a chat window that you can go ahead and ask us some questions. Yep,
and I've got a phone here and I'm reading the questions as we go, as we stream here. People asked if there's any alligators in the water.
Oh yes, oh yes, that's why we don't go near the water.
I don't actively see any right now, but they definitely live here.
I was just gonna say, the previous place we went to about 5 minutes ago is called Alligator Hole.
Alligator Hole,
yes,
nice.
There are alligators here.
Oh, what time do we expect Falcon Heavy to be vertical? That's a good question.
So anytime in the next couple of hours, we were told, so we're planning to be out here with they're planning to have the media out here until about noon, and we were told that it could go vertical while we're out here setting up remotes.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got the camera zoomed in right there again over at pad 39A. On the center of the camera right now, you can actually see the reaction frame down on the bottom of Falcon Heavy. If you get a little bit of contrast on your screen, oh, there's a helicopter in the background, nice. You can actually see the 27 Merlin engines down on the bottom. I stepped out of the way of another car. And you see the hole in the bottom of the reaction frame where all those engines are going to fire out through. To the right of the rocket here, you've actually got the structure, and if I scroll up the structure, you can see that new crew access arm. Now, the crew access arm is not going to be used today. This is an uncrewed flight. This is actually a Arabsat 6A, which is a communications satellite. So even though that crew arm is up there, that's not in use today, but it is a pretty cool shot of it. Again, as we move around, we'll be able to see the rocket from different angles and locations. And like Chris was just saying, if we get super lucky and the rocket gods smile down on us, we may actually be around for vertification when the rocket actually moves into the vertical position.
I like that word.
That's an official term, apparently. I don't know. We should have got a couple of gator hunting licenses. I've got enough equipment with me. I don't need a
harpooning alligators.
Yeah, harpooning any alligators out here. Are we going to be streaming for the next 9 hours? Reindeer Police, what we're doing right now is we're actually moving around to different locations. There are 6 different locations where they're setting up remote cameras, a lot like this. You see this? It looks like it's an office. Hey, is that Trevor? No, that's, yeah, look. That's his
cam, yeah.
His patrons.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah. On the camera there. So this is a remote camera inside of an Office Depot like file cabinet. But on the other side of that, let me see if I can get it real quick. There is actually a camera lens sticking out of there, and that thing is actually set on a remote trigger. so that based on, I believe Trevor's using the sound of the rocket, whenever the whenever the camera trigger hears a loud sound, it'll start taking pictures of Falcon Heavy. So when you see those really awesome close-up photos, they're called remote photography a lot of the times. When you see those posts on Twitter or Instagram or wherever you see them, that is because of cameras like this. It's not a safe location for humans to be during the launch, but it is a safe location apparently for Trevor's patrons, I guess, over that way. So as we move around, we're going to have different views of the rocket, and like I said, we might get super lucky and we might actually see the rocket go vertical while we're out here today. Let's see if we get any other... And then, of course,
we'll be back for the launch. We'll be live streaming the launch, and based on timings of where we're going to go, it looks like we'll be able to be up and live streaming and bring you the entire fueling process, too.
Yeah. Excellent. Let's see here. I think I use perfectly though. Oh, Imwed, it's okay. We're sort of on the mobile camera right now, so I'm not too worried about that. Don't move around or rotate too fast. Gotcha. Okay. How much fuel percentage will this launch use compared to very first Falcon Heavy? Are they going to use borderline bingo fuel, or will they have plenty to spare? Do we have any confirmation on that? Because we know that this satellite is...
What's the question? I didn't really understand it.
This satellite is lighter than the capability of Falcon Heavy to the orbit that they're going to.
Yes.
Right? So do we know anything about how they've changed Falcon Heavy? Is it going to have more fuel left over? Are they going to throttle it down? Do we know any confirmed facts about that? I don't know.
No. Just, I mean, the press kit is out, so we've got the timings of the landing.
We have the timings. Gotcha.
Cutoffs. So... like, we know the 2 side core boosters will shut down 2.5 minutes after flight. The center core will shut down 3.5 minutes into flight.
Right.
The side cores will land like 7 minutes 50 seconds after liftoff. The second stage shuts down 8 minutes 48 seconds after liftoff, and the center core lands on the ASDS 9 minutes 48 seconds after liftoff.
Did you memorize all that?
Yes. I read.
Well done. I mean, I can read too, but I don't know that I could have memorized all those timings exactly.
I got some speculation out of Declan on that if you're interested.
Yeah, I heard some of that as well. Yeah, if you want. Yeah.
There's a link to the press kit right there too.
Yeah, I mean, we're not entirely sure. I mean, the thing with this is too, like, the satellite is very light. It's at a weight that they could have thrown this into a low GTO orbit with a Falcon 9. So it does appear to be like it does from the surface, like you might think it's overkill that it's on a heavy, but all of this also has to do with the fact of like how quickly Arabsat wants to get into its geostationary orbital location. You can achieve that during a much quicker time if you can throw it higher with a Falcon Heavy, and it's also the first flight of the Falcon Heavy, right? So they are being, there is some indication that this is kind of an operational test flight. Yeah,
it's the first commercial flight, right, where there's a customer payload on board.
Yeah, because the demo test was just last year with Elon's Roadster.
Right. And then it's sort of the first test because this is the first Block 5 Heavy. Right. So the previous one was a previous sort of version of some of the details of the rocket, the exact tunings of the engines and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we know like the Block 3 Falcon Heavy, which was the demo flight, did roughly like 3.7 million pounds of thrust at liftoff.
Right.
This, according to the tweets that Elon sent out, is 5.1 million pounds at liftoff, increasing to 5.5 as it climbs into the vacuum. So it's a lot more powerful.
Right.
Which again is another reason that you look at Arabsat 6A and its mass, right? And you compare it to some of the other masses that just the Falcon 9 has thrown to GEO in expendable configurations and recoverable configurations. Yep. But again, it's also a factor of how quickly these satellites want to get to their geolocations,
exactly.
Right? And the quicker you want to get there, you either have to pack on more fuel to the satellite itself, or you have to have a powerful rocket that can throw you a little higher.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And that's right, a Galactic Surfer, that's a good one. They are attempting to land all 3 cores today. So we've got one core that's going to be going out to the drone ship, which is a long way out there.
It's 1,000 kilometers downrange from Kennedy. It's the farthest downrange landing of a core yet.
Nice.
By about 300 kilometers is what I remember reading.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a long throw out for that center core. But the two side cores will come back and do simultaneous landings, just like we saw last year with the Falcon Heavy demo. They'll come back and fly themselves back to LZ1 and LZ2, landing zone 1 and landing zone 2, which are right by each other and come down together about just before 8 minutes after liftoff.
Yep. And we'll be over there as well. I think we've got a spot around 4 or 5 miles away from the LZs where those boosters that come back to land will be coming back to. So we should have a really sort of front row seat for that. It's about as close as you can safely get and be allowed to come back again.
And the good thing about where we're going too is we're pretty equidistant from the launch pad and the landing pads.
Yeah.
So we'll be about 5 miles from each of them, which will be really cool.
All right.
But there she is, guys.
Yep.
Any more questions we got?
Let's see here. Does this mean there'll be the highest peak heating for the central core because it's going so far downrange? When we get to the other side of the rocket...
It's a good question. I mean, we definitely know the heating profiles will be slightly different, but I'm not sure we have confirmation if it's going to be the hottest or toastiest re-entry.
Right.
Because that last GTO flight that they did with New Centauru was pretty hot on the re-entry there.
Yep.
So it's a good question, but there are cool differences in this rocket to talk about too, with its inner stage that we'll be able to talk more about when we get to the other side of the rocket, and we can actually see the rocket lying horizontally, or maybe it'll be vertical by that point. But there are some cool structural and visual differences between the Heavy and the Falcon 9 Block 5 versions to talk about.
Yep. And again, Chad, just so you understand what's going on, we are out at Cape Canaveral Kennedy Space Center. We are moving around to different positions around 39A. Right there, again, that's where Falcon Heavy is on the pad. We're actually looking up the business end of Falcon Heavy with the 27 Merlin engines there. You can sort of see them in the middle of that frame. And as we move around, we'll have different angles of the rocket. We're gonna get a lot closer too. We're gonna get inside the fence shortly. So as we move from location to location, understand that we'll go back and forth to the Be Right Back screen because we can't run the camera while we get all back on the bus and then move from location to location, right? So expect that Be Right Back screen to appear and disappear as we are moving. I will try to be in Twitch chat and just let y'all know when we're getting to the next location. I think it was about 10 minutes last time we moved. So hopefully it's not too terribly much time in between locations. And I gotta do one more thing. We're able to come out here, we're able to do these virtual field trips because of our partnership with Vectors. So when we go to the Be Right Back screen, you'll actually see a list of the generous donors who have helped us get out here in terms of hotels, the camera equipment, the bandwidth that we use for this. That is all supported by y'all. So if it's the sort of content that you like to see on Twitch, you want to do more virtual field trips, I appreciate y'all's support. That screen is actually going to be live. So if you do a donation to Vectors, when that screen is up, you'll actually see it appear in real time to help us support these virtual field trips so we can come out and keep on doing this sort of stuff. So there's the link in chat right there. Also on that same screen, you will see a logo for NASA Spaceflight. You may wonder who this guy that I keep pointing the camera is.
Hello.
That's Chris G from NASA Spaceflight. NASA Spaceflight. Do you have like a spiel for NASA Spaceflight? Like, NASA Spaceflight is your #1 source for...
Oh, I'm sure we do.
we should have one of those.
This is the moment where the boss is watching, and I'm like, what is our motto?
He needs to type out like a spiel for you so that we can say it on...
I'm sure if I just open WhatsApp, it's going to be sent a message in a minute.
All right, Chris B.
It's your leading source for technical information on spaceflight.
There you go.
You want that. Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, so if you like the nitty-gritty technical stuff, that's us.
Excellent.
We also do science, too.
There's also some, like the black hole that's going out today.
Oh, yeah, and if you haven't seen the black hole yet, the image of the black hole, that is worth going to check out, because that is absolutely amazing. That they just released about half an hour ago. Yeah, but a really cool first ever direct image of a black hole. Really cool.
So if one of the mods could get... Yeah, there you go. NSF, we like rockets. You like rockets. Rockets. That's the official spiel from
We like
Chris
rockets.
B.
You like rocket? Oh,
rockets.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
good. There we go. There we go.
Just put it into Twitch chat.
You just put it in the Twitch chat. There you go. Yes.
So if one of the mods could get a link over to the NASA Spaceflight website, it's nasaspaceflight.com.
Mm-hmm.
As we're moving around it, there's some great articles about the mission that's going on. There's great articles about everything that's going on in spaceflight, honestly.
It is indeed.
And if y'all want to link up some of the articles that are posted over there, that's something you can be perusing when we're at the 10-minute moves in between our locations here.
Yeah,
But
we've definitely got the static fire article previewing this mission. Our launch article isn't up yet because we're still a bit out from that, and we're also waiting because while we're out here doing this, our photographers are taking all the cool pictures that we'll be using for part of our launch articles. So right now when you go to our site, the lead is the 4 leads are an SLS article, an EVA, this Falcon Heavy static fire, and the Progress MS-11 docking article.
Which there was
you can go
also
to the specific SpaceX site to read all our SpaceX articles, since this is a SpaceX launch.
Yeah, there was also a really cool free live stream of the static fire the other day.
There was indeed. Thank you, DOS.
Courtesy
You had to put up with so many messages of like, it's not doing what you said it was going to do. Wait, it just did. Never mind.
I think at some point I literally said, just read the instructions.
Yes,
JRTI.
which managed to get deleted somehow, which we're not going to go into how that happened.
Yes. So again, as we're sort of standing here, we're not getting on the bus yet. If you have any questions, now's a good time to ask some questions in chat. Let me see, how many remote cameras are set up and how close can you put them?
From in general or from us?
I mean, I know some photographers have
hundreds of cameras are set up here.
Yeah.
And the closest is so the closest is, it's one of the locations we'll go to, and we'll be able to show you. The closest is inside the Launchpad perimeter.
All right.
Yeah, I believe the closest one is the one that's due east of the pad, so looking like Razor's Edge onto the Falcon Heavy.
Yeah, I mean, just right here at this location, I gotta zoom out because I can't zoom in while I look at other things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 to 12 remote cameras. A lot like here's one down here.
3 groups have been to this location.
Yeah, they split us into 3 different buses, and so there's 3 different buses full of photographers.
But since we can't turn the camera around, but for all of you nerds out there who like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, our bus is bus number 42.
Oh, perfect.
So
it is number 42.
we have the best bus. Yeah.
Yes. Does the camera normally get destroyed? Normally the cameras don't get destroyed.
No.
So they actually have some protective stuff. The protection ranges from like this is a file case. Some of the cameras just have plastic bags around them. It does.
Out here for so long.
It can destroy the lens. It can damage the lenses. Yeah. So you'll get, especially the closer cameras. You can see you can't really have anything pointing out the front, except for the lens, right? So that lens has a rocket pointed at it, and a lot of times the lenses will get pitted or sort of damaged because of the exhaust that comes over. I hope Trevor's okay with us using his remote as the example remote.
Hopefully. I mean, it's not like we're giving away any.
Yeah, it's an office thing.
Literally in his black box.
Dude, I gave him a shout out to his patron, so I think we'll be okay.
There we go. Yeah.
I'll text them or something. The bus is the answer to the universe and everything.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. How much does it take how much time, how long does it take on average for SpaceX to verticate Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy?
It's within half an hour.
So it doesn't take very long once they start raising
very
it.
quickly.
Gotcha. How fast can they fuel the Heavy compared to a normal Falcon? Does it take a lot longer?
That's an excellent question. So fueling for the Falcon 9 begins 35 minutes before liftoff.
Right.
Fueling with the liquid oxygen and RP1 kerosene load. But on Falcon Heavy, they start the kerosene load 50 minutes before launch and the LOX load 45 minutes before launch. So it is a different fueling process, not just because of the amount of fuel that you have to put on, but because of the different thermal conditions that you have when you're fueling 3 cores side by side. It just creates colder temperatures around the vehicle. So the more time you can give those temperatures to sink down instead of doing as rapid as you normally would, the better that is for the overall configuration of the vehicle.
Yeah. How many hours before launch do they verticate? It depends.
It depends. It can go mission for mission. Like I said, if they go vertical while we're out here, like by noon, you can still launch in the window.
Yep.
So it really is mission dependent, because some missions do have moments where you have to go vertical X number of hours before, because once you go vertical, then the payload has to undergo different kinds of checkouts, and that's just totally dependent on what payload's on board, what the satellite requirements are, and all of that.
Do you know the fueling order? Do they fuel like the center core and then the outsides, or are they fueling all 3 at the same time?
The press kit didn't go into that detail, but it just said that LOX load and RP1 starts at this time, so all indications are that they fuel all 3 of them at the same time, which would make sense because you want to maintain the same thermal limits as the vehicle fuels, right?
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
how it's attached to the launch pad. So all at the same time for the 3 cores, yeah.
Gotcha. And there's another good question. What's the time frame for the launch? The window opens at 6:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. that is about 8.5 hours from now. So
and
from
it's
right
just
now,
under 2 hours long.
Right. So we have from 6:35 until 8:30 something.
8:33, something like that. Yeah.
So it could go any time in that window. We don't know. Somebody's looking for alligators. It looks like. We don't know exactly when it's going to go, but it is a 2-hour window that opens approximately 8.5 hours from right now. So again, we have probably about 5 more minutes according to SpaceX at this location. When we shut it down, we are not going to turn the stream off. I'm going to step over this way. We are not going to actually turn the stream off. We are going to go to the Be Right Back screen because we still have 4 other vantage points that we'll be able to check the rocket out from this morning. So when you see the Be Right Back screen, don't go away. We are going to be getting closer and closer to the rocket, all the way up inside the fence. So I'd say at some point we're probably going to get 150 yards away, maybe 100 yards away from it. I don't know. I've never been there before with the Falcon Heavy on the pad. See if there's anything else. Super excited for the launch. Thank you, Bob Almighty. Appreciate you. If it's later towards 8 p.m., it'll be daylight savings because it'll be a dusk. Cool. It's going to be nighttime in Florida when it launches. It's supposed to be right before sunset. So the window opens before sunset and then it closes after sunset. So the window sort of spans sunset there. But again, if you're just joining us, that is the SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket. It's not vertical yet. It's actually laying down. We're looking up the engine end. This is the business end of the rocket right here. And you can see 27 Merlin engines right there in the middle of the screen. They have that thing horizontal. And hopefully while we're out here with the camera, we'll be watching them raise it vertical. It's possible that we'll be able to observe that firsthand. So I'm Das. This is what I do. We're on a virtual field trip right now. We actually have NASA press credentials, so it's not like we just got in an alligator-shaped submarine and snuck up the coast or anything like that. We are badged with SpaceX. Actually, it's SpaceX in this case, not NASA. But we are badged as actual press out here. With me, I've got Chris G from NASA Spaceflight. So if we can get some NASA Spaceflight links into chat, and then also Chris G's Twitter and the NASA Spaceflight Twitter, that is a cool thing for you to check out. Like I said, as we are out here, we have special permission to be traveling around Launchpad 39A today, seeing the Falcon Heavy from multiple different angles. So we are just about ready to board our transport and move to the next location. The next location, I believe, is going to be closer, right, Chris?
Yes, because we go back toward the, so the next stop we have is actually, I believe, inside the launch pad.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I believe that's our next one.
So again,
but either way, we're going to be a lot closer, and the next 4 locations will all have good and differing views of the rocket that we'll be able to show you. That isn't just the business end of the rocket, but the business end of the rocket is really cool. So.
Yeah, so in a couple minutes here, we're going to have to go AFK. You'll see a Be Right Back screen. The stream is not going to stop or anything like that. While we're on the Be Right Back screen, that is SpaceX actually moving us closer to the rocket. Not allowed to film, not allowed to stream during that time, but when the camera comes back, hopefully about 5-10 minutes later, we will be really close to the Falcon Heavy that's literally on the pad right there. Again, if you're just joining us, I'm Das. We are on a virtual field trip. That right there is the SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket, destined to launch, hopefully destined, scheduled, I guess, to launch at 6:35. Window opens at 6:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time today. That is about 8.5 hours. So whatever time zone you're in, that is about 8.5 hours from right now. We will be streaming that as well. So you know how to find the channel again. When we go to the Be Right Back screen, just know that we are not gone. We are going to spend about 5 minutes moving to a new location, and then when the camera comes back on, we will be even closer to the launch pad. One last thing, we are able to do this because of y'all's support. We are able to come out on these virtual field trips because y'all basically support the stream. So Vectors is our 501c3 educational nonprofit. When we're on the Be Right Back screen, you will see the donation screen. It's notifiers and stuff like that. That screen is live. If this is the sort of content you want to keep getting on Twitch, there will be links in chat on how you can help us continue to support our educational outreach on the channel here. And again, one more massive thanks to NASAspaceflight.com. We are here as part of NASAspaceflight.com's crew. Chris G is the guy you'll see on the camera on occasion. So let's get some links for NASAspaceflight.com into chat as well. While we go to the Be Right Back screen, you can read articles. They've got sort of a pre-launch campaign stuff. There's actually some cool, I don't know if behind the scenes is really the right way to say it, but there's the L2 support. So if you become a member of L2 on NASAspaceflight.com, you can get cool technical drawings, behind the scenes pictures, stuff that's not released publicly.
And also that helps us afford to be able to come here and bring you all of this.
I got to do both the throws in there. So if y'all heard, they just told us that we need to start packing up. Again, I cannot have the camera on while we were moving. I know there are like 4.5 thousand people watching right now. Give us about 5 to 10 minutes. SpaceX is going to move us to a new location, and when we come back, we are going to be right next to that Falcon Heavy over there on the pad. Thanks for joining us. I got to get on. There we go. Hey, Twitch chat. It's Das again. We've got permission to turn the camera back on. Give me a status check. Give me a status check. Wow, y'all got the AOS almost before I even did anything. We are back. I appreciate y'all being patient. As we were talking earlier, we were moving from one location to the next. Where the heck are we? We are at the pad 39A at Cape Canaveral. And on the pad right now, a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket that'll be launching later today. I told y'all we were going to get a better angle, and this is a little bit better of an angle. Again, we are going to get closer. This isn't even the closest we're allowed to get, y'all. We are going to get closer and closer and closer to this rocket. We are not quite inside the fence. You see that fence up there? We're going to be inside the fence shortly. So thank y'all so much for being patient as we moved locations, but here we are. Falcon Heavy. Look at the top of the fairing there.
And the bird walking across the road.
Is there a... Where's there?
Yeah, just strutting across the road right in front of it.
Oh, there is a bird right there. Look at the bird.
So for those unfamiliar, the Kennedy Space Center and the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station are on a wildlife refuge. So we're surrounded by really cool wildlife, some of which likes to eat you.
Yeah, so there, we actually saw 2 alligators hanging out on the side of the road in a pond when we were there. So like I said, I appreciate y'all being patient as we moved. We are not allowed to turn the camera on, but hopefully it's worth the wait. That again, if you're just joining us, that is the SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket. Up on the top, that part right there, that's the payload fairing. Inside the payload fairing is the reason for the mission. That is the Arabsat 6A. It's a communication satellite that will be launching up to a geosynchronous, what are we saying?
Well, the satellite will eventually get into a geostationary
Will eventually get into a geostationary orbit.
Yeah,
there you go.
And it's a telecommunications satellite, the most advanced one that Lockheed Martin's ever built.
There you go.
Built for the Arabsat Corporation, and it'll provide telecommunications for the Middle East, Europe, and Africa.
Gotcha. And there, right there on the camera, you see the gratuitous grid fin right there. That nose cone looks a little bit tarnished or something, honestly.
So the nose cone at the tip of them, starting with a few missions ago, they started putting extra thermal protection system on the top of the payload fairings. We just haven't been able to get good images of it yet because the rocket's always vertical at the pad.
Right.
So as we swing around the pad, we'll be able to get better images of that if it's still horizontal. But yeah, that is on the top of the payload fairing, that is just extra thermal protection system because of how hot the top of that nose gets as the Falcon, and especially the Falcon Heavy, pushes through the dense lower atmosphere.
And for scale there, chat, do you see the human underneath the payload fairing there? You can see the person standing underneath the payload fairing. Let's zoom out so you can get a sense of scale on that rocket. Do you see the human being there underneath that payload fairing? I just zoomed in on him. That's how big that rocket is. I believe just the bottom part, so up to that nose cone there, is about 10 stories tall, roughly? Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's about 10 stories tall, if I'm not mistaken. It's so the booster is taller than the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
No kidding. So the entire rocket's even taller. And
well, the rocket is taller than the Statue of Liberty.
The rocket is taller. Okay, gotcha. Not just the booster. All right.
The booster is too.
The booster is
too. Without the pedestal.
But without the pedestal, the booster is. But with the pedestal, the whole rocket.
Gotcha. Now's the perfect time to hop on board. I mean, honestly, up here at the top, you can see the crew access arm. You see that shiny new crew access arm up there. That will not be used for this launch because this is not a crewed mission. But hey, one day that arm's going to swing over and it's going to put astronauts back on top of the Falcon with a Dragon 2 actually on board later this year. So you joke about now's a great time to hop on board, but later this year, hopefully SpaceX is going to be launching astronauts into space aboard their Dragon 2.
And to that end, SpaceX actually gave an answer to this to Michael Sheets from CNBC. Late last week, I believe it was, that from a hardware standpoint, so from the Dragon capsules to the Falcon 9 rockets themselves, that they are hardware ready in June. They will be hardware ready for June for the in-flight abort test of the Dragon.
Nice.
And they are hardware ready for a July at the earliest launch of the Demo 2 mission, which will have crew on board. So
nice.
we'll see crew walk across that arm
God.
and climb into a spacecraft from 39A once again.
This is a great view of the rocket. You see the big structure underneath it, the sort of big smooth white structure, not the rocket itself, but there in the middle of the screen, that's the Transport-Erector. And when they move the rocket out there, it actually rolls out on that Transport-Erector, and it's connected to the pad on huge hinges. And when they pick that thing up, that Transport-Erector is the structure that keeps the entire rocket stable as they rotate that thing. I mean, clearly the pointy end is not pointed towards space right now, so that's not the right orientation. When it's ready to launch in just over 8 hours, the window opens in just over 8 hours, that rocket is going to be vertical. It's going to be pointing end up over on the side here. So you may wonder who I've got talking with me. Over on the side, the disembodied voice that you're hearing is actually Chris G from NASA Spaceflight. And if you have questions,
you have to back up because there's a fire ant mount.
There's a fire ant mount. Thank you.
So, yes.
I don't want to stand in the fire.
Well, and I don't want to go stand in front of it, like or directly on it. No.
We're gonna back up slightly. Okay, I was just warned about a fire ant mound somewhere on the ground that I do not want to.
Wasn't kidding. It's a wildlife refuge.
I'm not sure that I agree with the fire ants being wildlife. Anyways, Chad, if you have any questions, we do have a phone here. I am reading Twitch chat right now. Like, look, that's literally Twitch chat. And if you have questions, you can ask them. Chris will answer them.
I'm gonna step off camera and then direct DOS where to zoom into.
Sure. Yeah.
Quick. So, DOS, what I want you to do is the base of the rocket where it's attached to the reaction frame.
Reaction frame. All right.
Gotcha. And then.
Got it.
Okay. And then we're going to. Those things right there.
Okay, those things.
Yeah, so you see those two gray things right there. So those are part of what is the launch mount. The reaction frame where the Falcon 9 attaches. So the Falcon 9 has the two clamps, right? Four clamps.
Gotcha.
Right? And two of those clamps are on inserts that have to be removed to make room and holes in the reaction frame for all of the exhaust for the side cores of the Falcon Heavy. So they literally, after the Demo 1 flight launched of Dragon in early March, they went out there, popped those two out, those two side clamps and hold downs out, and to reconfigure the whole pad for Falcon Heavy.
Gotcha.
So that's really cool. And they're so heavy, they just leave them right there.
They just leave them right there.
They don't bother removing them from the launch pad or anything.
So we're talking about, I'm going to see if I can point for you. We're talking about those things right there. That's my finger.
Yes.
Those two little bumps on the end there is what Chris is talking about.
Yeah.
So,
so that's really cool. And then go back up onto the rocket and go and zoom in on the nose cone of the side booster that's facing us.
Gotcha, with the grid fins just to the right-hand side there.
So if you notice, that nose cone is substantially sooty, right? It's not pristine, it's not crystal, it's not, perfectly white like the rest of the booster.
Is that reused?
That is one of the nose cones that launched on a side core for the Falcon Heavy last
year on February 7th. No kidding.
So even though all three boosters are new, the second stage and the payload fairing are obviously new on this rocket, there is at least one item that's being reflown.
Gotcha.
And there might be others. Some of the grid fins might be being reflown as well. Some of the landing legs might be being reflown. We don't know because we don't have any visual confirmation of that.
Right.
But we do have that visual that nose cone is a reuse. And the one on the other side, from what we've seen in some pictures that we were able to get during the static fires and everything, looks to be new.
Gotcha.
So it looks like it's one new nose cone, one reused nose cone.
All right.
That's pretty cool.
And they are going to try to reuse parts of this rocket. They're trying to land all three cores.
Yes. So the goal right now, as we understand it, is that the two side cores today, when they land at LZ1, will be refurbished and turned around for the next Falcon Heavy launch in June.
Right.
For the Air Force's Space Test Program 2.
Gotcha.
Flight. But we think right now that the center core for that mission will be new.
Gotcha.
They're going to build two center cores to rotate.
To rotate in and out for Heavy.
The original plan we did understand was that all three of those cores would be reused for STP2, but we think the center core will be new now.
Gotcha.
For that one. So yeah, they're going to turn these boosters around really fast.
Okay.
To use them again in June.
So there's some good questions in chat here. Why are the inner stages white? There's not really an
inner stage. So the inner stage, if you notice on the Falcon Heavy, is white. It's not black like the other, like the Falcon 9 Block 5. We understand that's for a couple of different reasons, right? If you remember Elon saying that there were differences in how they had to design the center core for Falcon Heavy,
right?
Because it has to take a lot of load and a lot of force as all three of those boosters are firing, and it's got to channel 5.5 million pounds of thrust through and up into the second stage.
Right.
So it's a different. material. We understand that that's part of why that looks different. It also has different thermal constraints. Because it does fire for much longer. If you, we were talking earlier, right, that it's landing 300 kilometers farther downrange than the previous farthest landing. So it's landing about 1,000 kilometers downrange. It's got a hot re-entry coming up. So it's just different because of the different requirements.
Gotcha.
That they've got, yeah. It really, for SpaceX, it all comes down to the engineering, and it comes down to what you need. So the Falcon Heavy center core does look different.
Yep.
Because that inner stage is white.
It is. It's a little hard to see right now. I know, chat. There are 3 of those cores. So if you're new to SpaceX, you're new to sort of Falcon Heavy, right now, normally you've seen like the SpaceX Falcons fly, which is 1 core. That's a nose cone right there in the middle of the camera, because there's actually 3 of those big tubes, the body of the rocket that have the fuel and the oxidizer in it, laying side by side, and we're looking at it sideways.
So on the center one, right, just above the nose cone,
yep.
Do you see the little notches?
Got it, I'm on it.
Right,
yep.
That little notch, so and then you see the line running like
yep.
up and down. So that line is the separation plane, where to the left is the second stage, and to the right is the
center core. Yeah, the inner stage. Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's the separation. So you can see like how much of that rocket is just the first stage.
Right.
And then it's just that little tiny bit that's the second stage. And
yep.
The second stage is incredibly powerful.
Yep. And then all the way up on the top right there, that while we're over here, that's actually where the payload is. So that's the payload fairing up at the top. You see where it sort of bulges out a little bit, then it has the silver. Is that silver?
It's silver.
Point on the left-hand side. That's where the satellite, that's Arabsat 6A in there, which is a telecommunications satellite that is going up. So
the other cool thing is if you come back down toward the base of the rocket.
Yep.
Right, and you've got the black landing legs that are horizontal, and then you've got the tower, and then you've got the vertical black.
Yep, I see him. Got him.
So that is the sound suppression system.
Those are the Rainbirds.
Those are the Rainbirds.
Rainbird hype, chat.
So right before launch, if they've got a good angle on the pad for this, about 15 seconds before launch, you will see those things just start shooting water out at incredible speed at the rocket to deaden the sound and help to protect the launch pad from any damage. And all of that water, if you go over a little bit, you can see the SpaceX water tower.
Yep, let's see here.
That's where all
there
of
it
that
is.
Water for the sound suppression system is stored in that water tower and just comes shooting down.
Yep, I think it's gravity fed. Aren't the Rainbirds gravity fed?
It is gravity
fed.
fed.
Yeah, so you put the water up high in the top of this water tower, and right before the launch, the water's going to be released and come shooting down the water tower through pipes that are not very exciting behind the trees there, but then come out of those black, you see the black towers there with sort of the sprinkler looking things on top.
And the gravity force of, I think that tank is 140,000 gallons.
140,000?
So when that force coming down out of it, it's something big and impressive like that. But yeah, just the force of that water, it'll shoot the water out of those Rainbirds pretty quick.
And then down on the side there, I believe the holes that we can sort of see there, that's part of the flame redirectors, right? Is that, or does it go the other way? Yeah, can you look at that?
No.
It goes out the far side, not to the side here. Gotcha.
That's just part of pressurization system.
Okay, yeah, there's all sorts of tanks and stuff in there. Gotcha, okay. Yeah.
From our vantage point, right, the flame and everything and all the exhaust will come out to the right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. I'm going to scroll through Twitch chat. NASA makes a sick water park. Nice. Let's scroll through and see if we can see if you're asking what time the launch is. The launch is currently about 8 hours from now. So exclamation point next launch in chat will get you information, the time in UTC. But it's about 8 hours from right now. The window opens at 6:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's about a 2-hour window, so they have 2 hours to get the rocket, just in case they need to hold, there's weather or something like that. We do have 2 hours to get this bird in the air this evening. We will be streaming for that, and we are basically halfway between the launch pad and the landing pad, so we should have live stream from the NASA Causeway of both of those events later today. Let's see here. We don't have any confirmation on exactly what time in the launch window it's going to be. I know that some people are saying there might be some speculation that it's going to go sooner or later, whatever, but we don't have any official confirmation at this time.
The only thing we have heard is that they are on track to launch within the window.
Yep, gotcha. Let's see here, and I'm trying to scroll through chat and read some stuff here as we go. Do we know if the TPS on the interstage spam or the Circa? We don't have confirmation on what that is, and I'm going to say that a lot, chat. I don't officially know the answer to some of these questions, so I'm going to say that 100% honest when we don't know. Let's see here. What time does it go vertical? It might go vertical while we're out here. We don't know for sure, but again, we don't have exact confirmation on what time that's going to be going vertical. Hopefully, we're out here and we have the camera on it when it's happening. Gonna keep on scrolling through. Let's see here. Thanks for the subs and stuff like that. I appreciate that. The water tower does not launch. The water tower just holds water. Let's see here. How much can the Transport-Erector carry, and could it carry BFR or Starship? That Transport-Erector there is just designed for Falcon and Falcon Heavy. So that's a specialized piece of equipment that is designed for these rockets specifically. Don't expect to see anything else on that. Yeah, there will be other ground equipment for that.
When we get to Starship. Yeah.
Yep, we might as well put the launch time in the title. That's actually not a bad idea. See, are we streaming to the launch? We're not going to be continuously streaming. We're going to have to go to the AFK screens and stuff like that. Again, if you're just joining us, we are at the pad. Like, literally, this is my phone with Twitch chat. I'm DOS. Hey, actually, you can sort of see me in the reflection there. That's cool. That's weird. So you can say, hey, hang on. Yeah. Anyways, whatever. We are out here. This is the third of 6 locations we're going to, and we are going to get closer. If you see the fence over there, we're going to get almost right up next to this thing. So as we move from location to location, I think we still have another 5 or 10 minutes here. As we move from location to location, we're going to be on that Be Right Back screen, but when we come back again, we will have different views of the rocket here at Pad 39A.
Yeah, so don't go away.
Yeah,
when you see the Be Right Back screen, because
don't touch that dial.
5 minutes to move.
Yep.
But like we will, like the next time we come back, we'll be inside the pad perimeter fence. So
that's going to be sick.
We'll be about twice as close to it as we are now. So we'll be able to bring you some even more zoomed in views of this, and we'll talk more about the launch pad itself too when we're a little closer.
Yep, when we're a little bit closer.
Get
cool.
Some more good views of that. But
what's the payload? The payload is a communication satellite. It's Arabsat 6A. Communication satellite.
Most advanced telecommunications satellite Lockheed Martin has built.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And let's see here. Watch the rocket touch back down after the first launch gave you chills. Vibes. Hopefully we see it again. Hopefully we see that again. What would the lethal blast radius during the launch? I can't tell you like, oh, during the launch, if you're this close, it'll blow out your eardrums or anything like that. I don't have a statistic like that. It's a good question. I mean, I'm very curious, but I don't know the answer.
What was the question?
Floki. Just like when the rocket launches, how close can you safely be? I don't know. Not here.
It's about 3 miles.
We'll be about, okay.
The closest they let people
is
get.
the closest they let people get. Gotcha.
Now, could you get closer? You probably could, but 3 miles is about what the roadblock set up.
That's the submarine that looks like a crocodile, like in James Bond.
3 miles was the exclusion zone for shuttle.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We don't actually have a submarine that's shaped like an alligator.
Yeah, but that would be cool. They look like them.
Yes.
I mean, they're armored submarines, right?
The SpaceX logo on the side core has a blue X. Are we going? What did he say? Is that for us or no?
I don't know. That was for you. Okay. Never mind, guys.
Okay.
We're going to continue on.
Oh.
Okay.
I was just making sure, like, am I doing something I'm supposed to do? Y'all, I take this really seriously. It's a huge amount of trust that they allow us to come out here and have the camera and do the live stream. So when I hear a SpaceX person yell something, I pay attention and I ignore you for a second. Just so you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to completely ignore y'all if I hear somebody yelling for some reason. We are here as media, and so we have official permission. It's not like we just snuck out here and are able to get this close to Falcon Heavy.
You don't sneak into the camera.
No, we take it super seriously that we're able to come out here and get the film and share this perspective of Falcon Heavy with y'all. Again, Falcon Heavy is window opening about 8 hours, just under 8 hours now from right now, and we should be standing by for the launch of that will be occurring, but we are waiting to get ready to move to the next location here for the Falcon Heavy. Again, if you got any questions, put them in a Twitch chat. Somebody said that the SpaceX logo on the side has a blue X and not a gray X as usual. I don't know, does it? I can't tell in the sun here. Chat, what color are those logos?
Better yet, throw up comparison photos.
Yeah.
Tell us, show us what you're talking about.
Yeah, if you have a picture of the logo that you think looks a little bit different, post them up into chat. And I'll zoom out. It's really hard for me to read chat and hold the camera steady at the same
I can
time.
read
So,
chat if you want.
you want to?
Yeah.
Here you go. I was way scrolled up. There you go. All right, they're saying it's blue. It looks blue.
Yeah. All blue looks all
One swipe through the X was gray before.
The one swipe through the X was gray, and now it's actually a
Now
blue,
it's blue.
all the way across. All right.
Okay.
Cool. Good eye. Hey, good eye.
Things change.
Yep. All right.
This could be gray. Yeah, I mean, we can check when we get closer. 'Cause
Gotcha.
Lighting can also play tricks on you out here.
Yeah,
where things
yeah.
can look a totally different color than they are in reality. So we can look at that. The A in SpaceX is about what it's always been.
Yeah, it might just be like the balance on the camera or something like that y'all are seeing. I got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm not officially a camera operator.
So there's someone who asking, isn't Elon not a part of SpaceX anymore? No, he is. He's a total part of SpaceX. He's their president. He's their COO, their chief designer, the founder. He's still very, very much involved with SpaceX. He hasn't stepped back in any capacity for SpaceX.
Gotcha.
What is the launch time in the Eastern time zone? So the launch window opens at 6:36 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which translates to 10:35 UTC, or 22:35 UTC today, and it's just under, the launch window is just under 2 hours. So we're just continuing to scroll here.
Yeah, there's a lot of scrolling in chat right now.
There is, yeah. We'll mention too that Das is here with us, not just through his own stuff, but with NASA Spaceflight, partnering again to bring you guys this coverage. And over on NASA Spaceflight, our launch article is up and live. So if you want to go, so if someone can throw that link into chat for people, you can read all about the mission, all about Arabsat 6A, about some of the timing of our events today once Falcon Heavy leaves the pad, like booster separation, booster landings, stage cutoffs, and everything like that. So yeah, if you can throw up that link in chat, that would be awesome for us. And a good reminder too with our launch window today, right? That's just under 2 hours. This is one of those times where they can launch any time within that window. So it's not like, we don't think there are any cutouts or what are known as COLAs, collision avoidance maneuvers, where like the rocket would have to stay on the ground to avoid hitting something in space as it goes up. We don't think there are any of those today. So if for some reason they don't hit the opening of the window right at 6:35 p.m. Eastern, then they can literally go at any second within that window. So just bear that in mind. For those of you who are just joining, we've got just about 7,500 people watching. So the rocket is still horizontal at the launch pad. They are in final preparations to go ahead and lift it vertical. The fact that it's horizontal still is not a problem. So there's no reason to get nervous or anything like that. The thing we were told when we got on the buses from SpaceX is that they are still on track to launch within the window. So that's that. So yeah, that's why it's still horizontal. There's someone who thinks that's Pikachu apparently.
There was a Pikachu for a second, yeah.
Pikachu for a second.
There was a Pikachu that jumped in.
Okay.
There's a Pikachu down there, yeah.
I was like, who thought they saw a Pikachu?
Very briefly a Pikachu. But we got Jeb here over on this side, so I figured I would get the obligatory more boosters shot for a second.
So we are going to be, in addition to the live stream we're doing now, make sure to come back at about 5:30. Is what we're saying.
Yep, okay.
Come back at about 5:30 Eastern, back to this channel for our live stream. So we will be bringing you live stream of the launch starting at about that time.
Gotcha.
We're going to be 5 miles away from the launch pad for launch, at a location that also puts us about 5 miles away and gives us a direct view of the two boosters, the two side boosters that will come back and land simultaneously, side by side with one another.
Yep.
So yeah, about 5:30 p.m. Eastern, which is 9:30 p.m. UTC.
Right, that's when the stream will start.
That's
the
when
window
stream
opens about an
will
hour
start,
later.
and that's about an hour before liftoff. That's when we'll go live, and we will be. And the reason we're going to start that early is we're going to take you through the entire fueling process and cover all of fueling as they load this baby up with RP1 kerosene and LOX and get it all nice and toasty for liftoff.
Yep. Do you want to step up there right quick and wave at the camera so you're not
Hi, I'm not just a weird voice. I'm a person. I'm Chris Gebhardt. I'm the assistant managing editor at thumbs up at NASASpaceflight.com. This has been a good partnership with DOS as we can team up to bring you these launches live. So it's going to be a good day.
It is going to be a good day.
Anytime a rocket's on the pad is a good day.
It's nice right now, so...
It is, and we've got some clouds and we've got some stuff coming in, but just remember, per the launch forecast that was released yesterday, there's an 80% chance of acceptable weather within the 2-hour window for today. If for some reason we have to delay until tomorrow, that odd increases to a 90% chance of acceptable weather in the launch window for tomorrow. Again, should we need it, but right now we're still aiming for a launch today, opening of the launch window at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. What else is there to talk about?
I mean,
there's a lot to...
I'm not complaining about all the time hanging out. We can just
never.
Do more gratuitous zooms of the rocket is one thing that we could do.
We are hoping they are going to go vertical while we're out here, and we can actually bring you that process. Because it might seem like it takes a long time to go vertical, but it really doesn't. Like that thing pops up really quick.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic if we could get that on camera.
It really would.
Yeah, look at those clouds in the background too, Chad. That's pretty. That's actually a really nice shot with the rocket and those bubbly clouds back there. Cumulus, I think, is the actual term.
Which is our primary concern today.
There you go. Cumulus crowd rule.
This is what we want to. This is what the primary concern is for today. But again, we're so far out.
Yep.
You can't be judging what the weather is right now.
Yeah.
We at actual launch time. So the really cool thing again with these boosters, the two side cores, is that like last year, when they separate just over 2 minutes 30 seconds into flight, they will flip themselves around, do what's called a boost back burn, which cancels out all of their downrange velocity and shoots them up higher into the atmosphere in this big arc, and aims them back down toward the Kennedy Space Center, or the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, rather, where the landing pads are. And they will come in and land simultaneously. Like it's sort of like, like synchronized swimming in the Olympics.
We caught that last year. If one of the mods could put up a link to the landing of the first Falcon Heavy flight, we have a video of what those two boosters look like from last year. So somebody grab that link right quick and put it in the chat. Sorry, Chris, go on.
Yeah, no, because it was absolutely unreal to watch it. Like I watched those two boosters land with my own eyes, and I still see pictures of it, and I think they're computer generated.
It doesn't look real.
It doesn't look real, but I saw it with my own eyes. When they come back together, they will produce 6 sonic booms. As they land, which will just ricochet across the Space Center and across Brevard County. SpaceX released a notice yesterday that Brevard County, Eastern Orange County, Seminole County, and Volusia County residents could also, like Orlando, Sanford, Titusville, Port Canaveral, and Daytona Beach, could all potentially hear the sonic booms
as they come back
of the boosters landing, even though this flight is going due east out over the ocean.
Yeah. I got to tell you, when the sonic, like we know that it's like, oh, there's going to be sonic booms. Oh, we intellectually understand that there will be sonic booms, but every single time they catch me by surprise. I jump, it'll be like da 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 da. It'll jump like that.
So this is the second flight of Falcon Heavy, but it is the first operational flight of Falcon Heavy and the first Block 5 Falcon Heavy variant. So that's why this is a really big deal for us. First Block 5, first operational flight with a paying customer. That's really important. But there's also a huge increase in thrust and power with this version of the Falcon Heavy versus the one that flew last year. So last year at liftoff, that Falcon Heavy was doing about 3.5 million pounds of thrust, increasing to like 3.8, 3.9 as it climbed into vacuum. This one at liftoff will be 5.1 million pounds of thrust, increasing to 5.5 million pounds of thrust as it climbs into a vacuum. and goes through max Q.
God.
So this has an incredible throw power. It can bring 140,000 pounds of just payload into low Earth orbit. It can fling like 7,000 pounds of payload out to Pluto or something like that. It basically, at one point I think we did the math, and it could have launched 3 or 4 New Horizons spacecrafts together to Pluto.
I think it's the most powerful operational rocket, right? With the most thrust at liftoff.
Currently operational rocket in the world.
Yep.
By throw power, the amount of payload it can take to various destinations, and by thrust.
Yep.
And it beats its closest competitor by more than a factor of 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not playing around. It is
It's
a big
not
rocket,
playing around,
Chad.
no.
I mean, we can't see from this perspective, but there are 27 engines on the bottom of it.
Yes.
So
And the only
9 per
other-
core times 3.
Yeah, and there's only one other rocket in history that has had more engines on its first stage than the Falcon Heavy does, and that was the Soviets' N-1 moon rocket that had
Yep.
31, and it never had a successful flight.
Yep.
But the Falcon Heavy has. So it's the rocket with the most engines that has been successful.
Yeah.
So
If you remember from last year, the Roadster, the cherry red Roadster that was launched out into space, this is the rocket that would, not this specific rocket, but the Falcon Heavy was the rocket that launched that. So if you're like, oh, it's a rocket, but you don't really follow spaceflight, that was the one that put the car into space. And you had all the cinematic shots of the driver of the car, Starman, with the sync to music and all that sort of stuff. Don't panic on the dashboard. That was the original launch a little bit over a year ago when Falcon Heavy first flew, and this is the second flight of Falcon Heavy. It's really the first flight, because this is a Block 5 Falcon Heavy with upgrades to
the
it.
first operational. So on Twitch chat, the Forge God wants to know, for STP-2, which is the next Falcon Heavy mission in June,
Right?
will that center core land on land or in the drone ship? That's a fascinating question. So the answer to that is, if SpaceX had 3 landing pads here, 3 landing zones, they could return to launch site land, RTLS land, all 3 cores together on land.
Right.
But they only have 2 landing pads here at Cape Canaveral, so they are going to park the drone ship 20 miles offshore and fly the center core back. So basically, it's going to return to launch site land on land, but there's no landing pad for it, so it's just going to land 20 miles out to sea on the drone ship. But that means anyone here watching it from Jetty Park, from Playa Linda, from Cape Canaveral,
might be able
to see that land. So that's a very exciting mission to look forward to. And the current plan for that mission too, for STP-2 in June, is that these 2 side boosters are going to be turned around and used as the side boosters on that Falcon Heavy as well.
So is that April, May, June, 2 months?
June
2 months, no kidding.
For that one, yeah.
God.
But that was an excellent question, the Forge God, because that's one we're all really, really looking forward to.
Yeah.
And again, this is a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket. It's Elon Musk's company.
Yep.
We had that.
We're not kidding. We're reading Twitch chat. Like, this is Twitch chat on the phone right now, and we are reading questions in Twitch chat. So if you have questions, now's a good place to put it. We have signal to do both the stream and read some questions in chat at the same time.
Yeah, and actually we've got some questions in chat. So Falcon Heavy is not the most powerful rocket that has ever existed in the world.
Right.
Space Shuttle and the Saturn V rocket were more powerful and could carry more to low Earth orbit than the Falcon Heavy could. But the Falcon Heavy is the most powerful rocket currently in operation in the world. That's an excellent distinction to make, because 2 U.S. rockets have been more powerful than it. And
in chat, I gotta say, I apologize for the zoom issues. If you're a regular to my stream, you know that the Canon G30 that I'm using has been through the ringer. I've been using this camera for 4 years. I've taken it to the desert, I've taken it to the Launchpad, I've taken it all over the map. And when the camera's zooming in and out like that, it's because the zoom rocker has a problem. So when we move to the next location and the donation page comes up, one of the things that we support with the donations that go through Vectors, our 501c3 educational nonprofit, is equipment to support streams like this. So if you are completely just angry at the zoom problems, you can help! Exclamation point Vectors in chat to help me get this camera repaired, because I apologize for the wanton zoom problems.
So we have another good question
in
chat from Random Guy Somewhere. He wants to know, is the launch window only affected by the weather, or are there other considerations? And that's an excellent question. So the overall duration of the launch window, like how they actually determine how long a window is going to be, is a combination of what the FAA will allow for airspace closures. And the FAA currently only allows 2-hour window, more or less 2-hour closures of airspace around Central Florida and the Kennedy Space Center for these types of commercial satellite launches, as much as 4 hours for missions of national security. But other than that, the other factor in determining the overall length of the launch window and when you launch during the day for these geostationary missions, has to do with where in geostationary orbit it's going, what location, and how long the spacecraft will take to get there once it separates from the top of the rocket, and what are the thermal and power requirements once it separates. Like, can it separate in darkness? Can it separate in daylight? If it separates in darkness, how long can it be in darkness before it needs to, have its solar panels in the sun? And once you know all of that, you just literally start working backwards to arrive at a time on the ground at the launch site that you launch from. But today, when we actually determine when in the launch window are we going to launch, it's a factor of when is the rocket actually ready to go? When is SpaceX ready? So they might not be ready right at the opening of the window, and they might have to slip a few minutes, and that's totally fine. Then you're looking at the weather, which the 45th Space Wing of the Air Force, that's their domain. They monitor the weather, and they let SpaceX know when they're out of limits for certain weather constraints. And then also, you've got the Space Command out in Colorado of the Air Force that tracks every single object in orbit. And part of their job is to communicate, is there anything based on the timing in the window that we're going to launch that you might hit or come too close to as you launch? So those are and then if there are, then we have what are known as cutouts, or COLAs, which stands for collision avoidance, that might be added into the window, and those are just chunks of time in the window that you can't launch during because you'll get too close to something that's in space already. So an excellent question, and that's what it comes down to on launch day for that consideration. So an excellent question. There. Just going to keep scrolling here.
Yep, there's a lot of chat, I know.
Because 8,000 of you are watching. So
wow.
Again, I'm Chris Gebhardt with NASA Spaceflight.
Excellent. Put the links in chat.
Put the links in chat. If you want to learn all about this mission, go to nasaspaceflight.com. Right on the homepage, featured article is the launch article for this mission. Falcon Heavy from SpaceX launching the Arabsat 6A communications satellite for the Arabsat Corporation. The most advanced telecommunications satellite that Lockheed Martin has ever built, and it'll provide phone, internet, data, and all sorts of telecommunication services to the Middle East, Africa, and Europe. Once it's on orbit, that satellite has a planned 15-year life expectancy. So just going to keep scrolling here.
There's a lot of scrolling to be done.
There's a lot of scrolling to be done.
I'm going to keep zooming the camera in and out.
Please do as I look to find a question here. The launch window opens, this is posted a lot in chat, launch window opens at 6:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 10:35 UTC, 10:35 p.m. UTC, or 22:35 UTC. For those of you who are like me and like the 24-hour clock, right, instead of this AM PM stuff. Yeah, I don't know why people keep saying in this chat that the Earth is flat.
Mods will take care of them. Mods, just ban anybody who wants to bring that sort of nonsense around.
So yeah, like Twitch, the guys in Twitch chat, if you got questions, throw them up. I'm going through this. Trying to find some questions. Do we think SpaceX will live stream the booster landings up close? The answer to that is yes.
Oh yeah.
SpaceX always broadcasts their landings, and there was one, I believe it was DM1, where for the first time ever the feed did not cut out on the drone ship.
Right.
And we actually got to see the booster. Yeah. So they will show live up close, HD. Footage from the landing zones here of the two boosters coming back to land together. Then they'll cut back a minute after that to the second stage, where that second stage engine will shut down, and then they'll cut to the first stage, the core stage or the center stage, which will land about a minute which will land on the drone ship 1,000 kilometers downrange from here about a minute after the second stage cuts off. So the timing is perfect. You'll see the 2 synchronous booster landings, the second stage cutoff and orbit insertion, and then you'll see the booster landing on, of course, I Still Love You drone ship.
Excellent.
Can you set up a remote camera to live stream during the launch? So we cannot set a live streaming camera at the pad. There's too much radio interference and stuff like that with signals that they don't allow that. But we do set video cameras.
Yeah.
So we can have video cameras on remote triggers. Oh, and it's going horizontal. It's going vertical.
Oh, look at this.
It's going vertical, guys.
Chat. Whoa.
So this is what we were trying and really hoping we would be able to show you guys.
Look at that.
It's Falcon Heavy going vertical at 39A right now. And you guys will get a sense for how quickly this happens, which is incredible considering this, how big this rocket is. And we have to give a major shout out to SpaceX Public Affairs that just told us.
They just yelled at us and told us to turn around. They're like, hey, they yelled your name, didn't they?
Yeah, because sometimes you just, you forget to watch the rocket.
Oh, wow. Look at how fast it moves.
So yeah, Chris, this is really fast, like for taking a rocket vertical. So there is no fuel in the rocket right now. There's only fuel in the Arabsat 6A satellite. They will start fueling the Falcon Heavy for launch 50 minutes before liftoff.
50. 50.
50.
Look at that thing go. I should align the camera with a rocket like that. Like, it looks like the Earth is actually going less vertical or less horizontal. You want me to hold my phone for you?
Yes.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. Chris is typing a tweet. Look at that. That's the first time we've seen that. So they roll it out there, the big structure underneath it, that's the Transport-Erector, and that is what's giving the rocket its support right now as it lifts up into the vertical position. SpaceX has horizontal integration, which means when they put the rocket together, it's actually laying down horizontally like we saw it as we were sort of standing there, and they pull it out to the pad. They move it out to the pad with that Transport-Erector, then the Transport-Erector verticates it, lifts it up vertical like that, because clearly when you launch the rocket, you don't launch it in a horizontal configuration. You want the pointy in towards space, right? So we are getting to witness the Falcon Heavy actually getting in the correct pointy in towards space orientation right now. That is crazy. I'm gonna say it's about 30 degrees
Now it looks bigger.
right now.
Oh, really? Look how big it is. All of a sudden, you got one
God, somebody in the background just made the point, like, as it goes vertical, it actually looks larger. It's just the fact that that thing's going to be standing up straight. It makes it look like it's bigger than it was before. God, just the perspective and the other things around it.
The perspective and how you can begin to understand like the size, just how massive this vehicle is.
Yep.
Like when I call the Falcon Heavy a beast, like that is a very loving term.
Yeah, yeah.
Like.
It might be. Yeah, they can just go. Yeah, right. It looks so much vertical and insane. Why are eyes so eyes? No, it's eyes. I don't think so.
What's up, EJ? I got your text, dude. Wow.
All right, I'm tweeting out more of the to everyone that
excellent.
watch our live stream.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, because man, we dropped.
Yeah, I'll talk to you. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Expected, unfortunately, right as the timing happened there.
If we were over there.
So, as we continue to watch this sucker go vertical, right? The good thing, to talk about again is that, you know, we are on track to launch within our window today. Right. The good things to remember here is just because we might not hit the opening of the window, which we might, we totally might, but don't get overly concerned if there's a realignment or anything like that, because they've got almost 2 hours and we can launch at any point within that 2-hour window. So this isn't one of those instantaneous cargo crew launches to the station that
right.
have a second, like, there's wiggle room here today.
Yep.
And that's very, very important. But let's also talk about lighting conditions in the window.
Right.
Because the opening of the window is at 6:35 p.m. Eastern time. Sunset
it's about 7.5 hours from now.
An hour and 10 minutes later at 7:45 p.m. Eastern. And then our window closes at about 8:33, 8:32 p.m. Eastern. So regardless of what time in that window it goes, the lighting conditions are going to be absolutely gorgeous for this flight. Yeah.
And hey, chat, I'm holding the camera right now, like we're out here in the field. If y'all make clips or you post up whatever you want to do, you tweet them out. I'm K Space Academy. You can put NASA spaceflight in there as well. I don't have the bandwidth right now. Hey, look, it's like almost to the crew access arm. I don't have the bandwidth right now to make clips or anything. So if y'all make some clips, tweet them out. Mention me. I'm K Space Academy on Twitter. Mention NASA spaceflight. It's actually at NASA spaceflight. And we will, when we get back on the bus and we're moving to the new location, because we're going to get closer to the rocket too. When we move out to the new location, we'll be able to check out some of those. And I really appreciate you. Yeah, the zoom, I was talking about the zoom earlier. The camera has an issue with the zoom rocker. When we get back to the donation page, you can help. If you hate the fact that it doesn't keep the zoom stable, you can help resolve that issue.
Now what's really good, it's going to be really cool here, right? So as they kind of slow down, the more and more vertical they get, right, is you'll see it like
like all of a sudden,
when like boop,
it's like the reverse twang. Like
yeah, the reverse twang of the shuttle.
It twangs into the upright position, not
not out of it, right?
Yeah. Sorry, dot vibe.
So yeah, you can see that it's still moving.
Yeah.
It's just like you just want. This is the part where you really want to be careful.
Yep.
Right.
Even though it's not full of fuel, it's still going to have a lot of momentum. That's a long lever arm there, so you don't want it to be moving very quickly and then like keep going past vertical.
And that's a heavy rocket, even on fuel.
Yep. And the satellite's on top right now.
Yes.
I mean, the satellite is actually up on the top of the rocket, so. We're not wanting to go flinging that satellite
also,
like a trebuchet.
I'm sure you're hearing all of those popping and banging noises. That's normal. It's fine. It's nothing to be concerned about.
Nice.
Because I was like at the static fire when like a bird just decided to like sound like a dog's squeaky toy, and everyone was like, "What's that dog? Who has a dog?" It's like, no, that's just a bird trying to show off.
All right, hang on, chat. Hang on. Sorry, that was my fault. I gotta take a breath right quick.
Do you need me to hold the camera?
No, I'm good. I'm trying to get a thing here. All right, are we good? Camera? There we go. Now we're good. All right, cool. All right, I'm trying to smoothly pan down the rocket. Okay, that's cool. Sorry. I was like holding my breath while I'm trying to cleanly zoom that. Gah. Okay. Look at that.
I have to say, this is the first time I've been this close to see it go vertical.
Yeah.
See a rocket go vertical.
Oh, so funny.
The giddiness and like the little like fangirling.
Yeah.
It was just like, like, this is awesome.
We were contemplating last night going over and trying to film it from a distance from Titusville, going vertical, and
5 o'clock.
It didn't roll out. I'm glad we didn't stand outside all night trying to get this, and we are in a much better position than Titusville to watch it go vertical right now.
I know.
Gah. Yeah, hold lift shift to hold breath improves aim. Oh, we're loading up,
We're
chat.
loading up,
We've just been told that we need to load up and move to the next position. When we come back, we might actually be inside the fence. I believe the next position is going to be inside the fence.
We'll be inside the fence. It will likely be completely vertical. But
Yep.
guys, what you just saw, like almost none of us in the media have seen from this
Walk away from
location.
the rocket. Walk towards us.
This was this was incredible.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you got to see that. Yes.
So we will be back. You'll get a AFK screen, chat. You'll get an AFK screen. Probably take about 5 or 10 minutes to move. But again, SpaceX Pad 39A, that's the Falcon Heavy on top. We are live streaming. Appreciate you. Again, if you want the zoom to get fixed, this page will help out with that.
And again, too, don't go away because we're going closer to it.
Yep.
We'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Yep. All right, we're walking. There we go. And oh, hi.
Cameras.
There we go. All right, let me see if I can get back into Twitch chat. I am very limited in bandwidth over here. Twitch chat, stand by. It's not under 1,000, which is not ideal. Yeah, but we're gonna record locally as well. I might need to. Is it okay if I step down to the end of the bus? You think? All right, cool. All right, chat. Stand by. We're. If you've got video, I know that it's not great right now. We need to step to the end of the bus if we can.
We can also go the opposite direction.
The opposite direction? Okay. Let's just get right here and see if this is going to work, but I don't have very much bandwidth right here right now. Yeah, all right, we got a little bit, but let's see what we can do. This is a better position than over there. Okay. Picture's clearing up. Yeah, chat, we're bandwidth limited here, and it's also super loud. You can hear like purges going on. Also, we're at the back of the bus, so that's not ideal. We're trying to get the signal sorted out here. Picture is fine, just loud. Yeah, I understand. Scene is okay and everything. Let's go ahead and do this, and we might try to walk way out there, but hey, here we are.
But it's loud. We know it's loud because we're on the pad. They're doing a bunch of ground support equipment purges now that they've gone vertical. So you're just gonna have to bear with us on the sound. We'll talk as loud as we can, but this is what it's like being at an operational launch pad this close to launch.
This is an operational facility. I mean, it's not what, 30 minutes ago that they started putting it vertical.
Oh, not even.
Right now.
Yeah, not even. Yeah.
So less than 30 minutes ago, that rocket was laying down, and now it's vertical.
We don't even normally get to see. So very happy we got to bring that to you.
Yep. And chat, we do understand there are some signal difficulties right now. It sort of comes and goes. I'm trying to hold really stable. I'm not trying to move around once we get the signal. It's a difficult signal environment because we've got a bunch of structure blocking us from the line of sight to the cell phone towers. So I am also recording locally, and we will have some of this locally recorded video after, but I'm just going to hold super still and hope that the signal goes. Again, this is an active launch pad right now. That Falcon Heavy was just raised vertical from the horizontal position by the Transport-Erector. I am yelling into the camera. It is what it is. I am standing here, and this is the signal that we get from right here. So we are here. We're not going to say, oh, there's not like broadband up, so I'm not going to go. Are you crazy? You're crazy. I wouldn't say that. I'm still going to the pad. So again, you can see the, yeah, no, we got selfie mode going. Look. Nice.
You gotta take selfies.
You gotta take selfies. Don't act like you wouldn't take a rocket selfie, chat. Don't act like you wouldn't take a rocket selfie. We only have 20 minutes, 20 minutes at this location. Again, it's loud. It is an active facility. They are preparing that rocket for launch. I mean, they are not playing around here. Yeah, we have 4 different modems actually. We have 4 different modems.
And this will be a shorter broadcast than what we've done.
Yep.
Because we do have limited time. Because they went vertical, and that's a safety consideration, and they weren't letting anyone come in, but they also have to clear the pad, right? Because now there's all the pressurizations have to start.
Yep.
Everything has to start getting ready for the fueling process and launch, so we have very little time before we have to get out of the pad perimeter
right
here. So we will, but then we'll be back again.
Oh yeah.
One more location after this one to go to.
Yep, and there it is, chat. You can see that new crew access arm that'll be used later this year for the Crew Dragon. You also got the Falcon Heavy there. That's the payload fairing. That's Arabsat 6A on the top. Going down, there's the second stage right there. So that's what's going to push the satellite the rest of the way into its intended orbit. There you got some nose cones on the boosters. So those boosters are going to separate out to the sides. They're going to come back to the Cape and land at LZ1 and 2. We'll be about 4 miles away from the landing pad when those things land. You also got the center core going out to the ASDS, the Automated Space Short Drone Ship. And that is going to be almost 1,000 kilometers downrange. Almost 1,000 kilometers downrange. So
about 300 kilometers farther downrange than the previous farthest downrange landing is, which just gives you a sense of like how much more power you know the Falcon Heavy can impart just into its first stage, let alone the extra kick and performance increases that gives you on what the second stage can then do.
Yep. Look at the top of the fairing there. You see the silver part.
Yeah, which looks black now.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But it kind of makes me wonder if it's always been silver.
Yeah.
Because we've never seen it horizontal before like we did before today. So.
God, that's cool.
And if you're just joining us, you know that black, the silver black tip at the top of the payload fairing is an added thermal protection for the top of the fairing, because that fairing heats up so much, especially on the Falcon Heavy, as that 5.5 million pounds of thrust just accelerates this monster through the dense lower atmosphere.
Yep.
So, you know, you always hear a lot about thermal protection on the way back down, right? You hear about it in terms of Crew Dragon and thermal protection system to survive atmospheric reentry, and how the boosters have to do their entry burn to mitigate entry heating on their landings. But it's the same at the top of the rocket. You've got to have thermal protection at the top of your rocket because of the temperatures that it can reach as you climb uphill.
Yep. I am going to strap this camera to the side of the rocket and send it to space with the zoom, chat. I apologize. I need a new camera. That's what the donation screen is for.
There you go.
Oh, sorry, Chris. I interrupted you.
I was just going to say, like, anyone who's tried to launch a rocket in Kerbal Space and watch, like, if you don't have everything just right and you've watched the flames start to form on the top of the fairing if you're going too fast in the lower atmosphere.
Yep.
You know what we're talking about, right? You know what we're talking about with that. We got 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Thank you, Chris. All right. Yeah, look, I'm trying to do a nice little smooth pan there.
Yeah.
I am holding so still. I don't want to move around, chat. I don't want to lose the signal at all. I'm recording everything locally as well. If you're standing by, it is about what? We got 7 hours before launch now? The pop, did y'all hear that?
Just about 7 hours, yes.
Yeah. Are they attempting fairing recovery? Do you know?
7 hours before the opening.
Before the opening of the window. That's true.
2 hours.
Yeah, 7 hours before the opening of the window is right.
We think they are going to try to pluck them out of the water. They are not trying to catch them on Mr. Steven.
Yeah.
Mr. Steven does not have a net, or arms attached to it right now.
Gotcha.
But there was some indication on marine tracking yesterday
Yep.
that some of the boats that went out with the ASDS, of course I Still Love You, were now hightailing it further downrange, which could indicate that they're going to try to pluck the fairings out of the water.
Yep. In chat,
They've had
I
a
see
lot
your-
of success with soft landing the payload fairings in the water.
Yep.
So yeah, hey, a recovery's a recovery, right?
It really is.
I mean, remember that CRS-16 booster? It went for
Oh,
a swim
yeah.
in the ocean,
It went
but
for a swim in the
that's still
ocean.
technically a recovery.
Yep.
But, you know,
Chris, hey chat, we're gonna risk it for the biscuit. Let's try to walk to
Yeah.
the far end. I am gonna try to walk to the far end, y'all, and see if we still have signal there. Be advised, the signal might drop. I'm gonna try to get away from this bus engine, so just hang in there. I gotta keep pointing the camera towards the rocket. The signal is probably going to drop. Ooh, that was dangerous. There's a bolt on the ground that I almost tripped over. We'll see if we have signal down here. If we do have signal, we'll stay. If we don't have signal, we'll
BRB or go back.
yeah, exactly. It may have already dropped, but let's walk and see.
Okay. God, yeah.
Oh, it's better over here. It's a lot better.
Signal's better?
Well, no, let's see. We'll give it a chance to see if it spools back up. When we're moving, it almost always.
Oh, okay.
You stand on the other side of me,
Oh,
because
yeah,
Titusville's
that's
that way.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's see if it spools back up. It looks like it's spooling back up after we stop.
Good.
So we'll do status check. Like that. Chat, are we good? Look at the angle from over here. You can actually see the center core from this angle. I'm glad we moved.
Yeah, you can.
It's clean now. Yeah, all right. I will not move again, and I will stay right here. This is fantastic. Look at that beautiful rocket. That is. I mean, I like rockets. This is a nice looking rocket.
This is a nice looking rocket.
That's a nice looking rocket. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not going to apologize to y'all. The Q dropped during the walk. We knew that was going to happen. We knew that was going to happen. Is everything else good? We have full signal. We have like full up right now. So let's go ahead and get this from over here again. Up at the top, Arabsat 6A, it's telecommunication satellites. It's inside the payload fairing. That's the bit that goes out to the side a little bit there at the top with the American flag on it. You can see the Transport-Erector is the structure on the left-hand side. That's what provides support to the rocket as it's moved around and lifted up. That just happened earlier, live on the stream. We got to see them go from horizontal to vertical.
And it's where the RP1 unlocks fueling lines.
Yep.
The second stage run up.
Exactly. So in the second stage right there in the middle of the screen, that's the second stage. That's the part that gives the payload its kick the rest of the way into orbit. Then you can see the nose cones on the side, and we'll see if one of those nose cones is a little dirtier than the other ones. You can see a booster on the side there. See, it says SpaceX on the side there with the black line going up the side of it. There are two boosters, one on either side. You can kind of see the nose cone to the left of the TE there, and then the center core. Look at that. Oh,
And a good
gratuitous grid
A
fin.
good thing to talk about here, right, with
Yeah.
nomenclature, is technically all three of those are boosters.
Oh, they're all boosters, right?
We're good. So you're going to hear me and Das kind of interchangeably say center core or center booster.
Right.
Technically, from SpaceX's perspective, it's the side boosters and the center booster.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because literally they are just Falcon 9s.
yeah, they are.
I mean, that's all they are. They're just Falcon 9s.
Look at that. Hey, shout out to EJ. Somebody, if EJ's not watching this right now, tell him we got some, we've got his favorite grid fin action going on there. Let's keep
The
him.
big titanium grid
Yeah.
fins, yes.
That's cool.
And now you can see, if you look down at the pad, right, there are 8 rainbirds. There are 4 on the east side and
Yep.
4 on the other side.
There we go.
And those are what we were talking about earlier. When all
Rainbirds
of that
are cool,
water
right? I can-
jumps out of that water tower.
Yep.
They're starting about 15 seconds before launch. You'll just see those rainbirds start shooting water.
Yeah.
Out at the rocket. It's really impressive, the force that water comes out, and it's all gravity fed.
Yep.
There are no pumps. They literally just open the valve on that water tower and down it comes.
Water tower's cool, right? I can get the water tower on the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the water tower just on the very edge of the shot. So all the water for the suppression, they spray the water around the base of the rocket to help absorb some of the energy, because you don't want the energy to reflect back up and hit the rocket, right? So it's stored in the top of that water tower on the right-hand side of the video there, and it goes via gravity down to the rainbirds, and that's what we were talking about, those 5 minutes. We just got the 5-minute warning. 40, so 45. So it's actually sprayed out onto the pad, and the fact that the water has to be sort of flashed into steam by the energy of the rocket helps dissipate some of the energy of the launch. Because you got a Falcon 9 up there taking off, that's a lot of energy. You put 3 Falcon 9s together, you got 27 Merlin engines pointing down towards the concrete structure. You can only do so much to try and redirect all that force. So you also try to dissipate or absorb some of that force with the water that you spray down there.
Which in part goes to how we protect Pad A, right, from the forces and the acoustics inside that flame trench, which are just tremendous when this vehicle will take off.
Yep, we gotta get this too real quick.
Yeah, but so just one thing, real quick, I guess.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Yeah, of course.
So 5.1 million pounds of thrust at liftoff. Pad A endured nearly 8 million pounds of thrust at liftoff from the Saturn V and 7 million pounds of thrust from the shuttle. Like, Pad A is built to be the workhorse and take the brunt of our biggest rockets.
Yeah.
So we are not, when we say like it's to help protect 39A, it is to help protect it, but like we're not worried about any damage to 39A. Because upscale of this Falcon Heavy versus the one last year. It has survived a lot more and will likely survive a lot more than what Falcon Heavy can throw at it, what the shuttles and the Saturns can do.
I had to get some jab action in there, sorry. All right, and we're running out of time quickly here. We still have good signal, that's good. We're just about ready to start having to walk back to the bus, chat. Yeah, hey, chat, we're gonna need to start walking back to the bus. Can you hold Jeb?
Yep.
Thank you. All right, excellent. We got 2 minutes, nice. And I have to do this. I have to take a gratuitous rocket selfie. Don't act like you wouldn't take a selfie with
I've taken 3 so far at this location. But
I've come all the way out here. I'm not going to be the guy who doesn't get the the selfie. There you go in the back. Oh, like that right there. It's like selfies of selfies of selfies.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna run. Chat, I know you can't see anything. Guess what? I'm taking a selfie. All right, now you can see the rocket. So let me get back into here, and we are going to have to start loading the bus again. We do have one more location we're traveling to. It's going to take about 5 or 10 minutes to get back on, but we will go to the AFK screen. Hey, all the people with the donations that came through while we were on the bus, Banana, Malacalypse, everybody else, I appreciate you. I will read all those off right now. We're totally focused on getting this, getting the rocket taken care of, but I will switch and we will be right back. I do have to switch off the camera right now, and we will be right back. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for joining us for Falcon Heavy from Pad 39A here today. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off. Off. Okay, we're clear.
Right there? Okay. All right.
There we go. Give me just a second to get back into chat here. And we have our next gratuitous angle of Falcon Heavy on 39A. Give us an AOS, chat. If you can, give us an AOS. Let me know that we've got video, audio, mic check. It looks like everything's good. Let me get that out of the frame just a little bit there. But there, you look at that. Right there, man. I'm going to stand by, yeah. So if you're just joining us, if you're wondering what's going on, I'm Das. I'm on a virtual field trip. And we are out at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. SpaceX launching a Falcon 9 Heavy. What's up, Trevor? Launching a Falcon Heavy actually. Window to open later this evening in just under 6 hours or 7 hours, just under 7 hours right now. Exclamation point next launch in chat if you want that time in UTC. We will be streaming the launch, and we will be streaming the dual booster landings as well. But we are out here with the media. Everybody's setting up cameras and stuff, getting the configuration set. When you see those awesome shots of the close-up engine shots, the still shots with all the flames coming out the back, those are from these remote cameras that all the photographers are setting up out here today. So while they're setting up, I'm just talking to the camera and pointing the camera at the rocket and stuff like that. So let me know if there's anything else. How much time left before launch? Just under 7 hours. Just under 7 hours. I am in Twitch chat as well. So right here, this is my phone. I am actually reading Twitch chat. And if you have questions, I can answer some questions for you. I'm Das. This is what we do. Hey, I'm going to say one more thing. Thank you for all of the donors via Vectors, our 501c3 educational nonprofit that supports these sorts of events. That donor screen that comes up in between, that thing is live, and I have seen names popping up. Malacca Lips, Banana Dodo. I'm actually going to see if I can pop back over and read more of them while I got some time here. There it is right there. And who else did we get? We got Gilbershaft in there. Gilbershaft, thanks for the 50 bucks. Banana Dodo, 154. We got Malacca Lips with the 200 bucks there. Who else was in there? Hydra did $5. Hired Assassin was in there as well. That stream, that page is live, so in between our moves, when we switch to that scene, I really appreciate the support. That's what pays for hotels, that's what pays for camera equipment. The camera is actually a little broken right now because the zoom, like the zoom rocker, has an issue and it zooms in and out randomly. I need to send it off and get that repaired, but there's been so many cool spaceflight things going on, I haven't had time to lose my camera for a month or two. So hey, there was another one. Cass W Art is in there as well. We also got Ken Home, I think. It's bright out here, but I appreciate you, Ken Home. Again, let's pop back over to Twitch chat and we'll get more of those a little bit later. 6 hours 42 minutes. There you go, Labesir. So again, that right there is a Falcon Heavy. Now from this perspective, you can see the reaction frame, or the reaction frame. Sorry, you can't actually see the reaction frame. You can see the Transport-Erector. You see those blue pistons, and then the white frame there, sort of the triangle. That's actually what gives the rocket support as they lift it up. When we had a little bit zoomed out shot here, over on the side, that big building that says SpaceX in it, or on the side of it, that's actually the HIF, the Horizontal Integration Facility, where they actually put the rocket together. So they build the parts somewhere else. They bring it out here and they integrate it in the horizontal building, the Horizontal Integration Facility right there. And then they build it on that, or they put it on the Transport-Erector, this sort of triangular structure that goes up the backside of the rocket. They roll it out to the pad, and then when they lift it up, that's what actually gives the rocket support on the way up. So I'll do it one more time. Up at the top, you've got the payload fairing. That's where Arabsat 6A, telecommunications satellite that'll be launching out to GTO is what the Falcon Heavy is doing. You can see some of the clamps and the service equipment giving communications infrastructure up to the satellite that's inside the payload fairing. Up on the top of the payload fairing, if you're watching EJ, I bet you EJ's pointed this one out. You see the shiny bit on the top of the payload fairing. This rocket is going way down range, and what we're thinking is that they've put a different type of material on the top of the payload fairing there because this is sort of a high energy launch. If we keep scrolling down from here, you can't really see the second stage. You see the parts of the Transport-Erector there that has sort of the mesh on it. The second stage is behind that, but you can see the grid fins on the two boosters. So the two, you can really sort of see two grid fins on the left-hand side, 1 1/4 grid fin on the right-hand side. That's what gives those boosters aerodynamic control and stability as they come back down for the landing. Hopefully later today we see both of those boosters back at LZ1 and LZ2. Over here, I'll be standing about 3.7, about 4 miles away from the LZs when those things come back down. So if you haven't seen that happen before, it's kind of a cool thing to see the boosters fall out of the sky and then come to a propulsive landing back on the pad. Keep on scrolling down. There's not much else. We've already talked about the Transport-Erector there. Okay, different bus. All right, good. No, not much else you can see. We have the Rainbirds there again, so you can see on the sides the sound suppression that actually sprays water. Water, of course, comes out of the water tower on the side. So from the water tower here, down the side of it, through pipes, and over into those black structures there that are actually going to spray some water on the pad for sound suppression purposes. This pad is not playing around. This pad has sent rockets to the moon. This pad has sent space shuttles. Get some EJ space shuttles in chat if you got some space shuttles. This is pad 39A. This is not like a pad that they built last week for Falcon Heavy. This pad has been around 50 years?
It's been around since the mid-60s.
Yeah.
It was first used in 1967 for Apollo 4.
There you go. Are you good to go with your setup?
Yes, I've done. Yeah, Brady has to do the camera stuff. I can level shit.
Yeah.
I don't I don't trust myself to
actually do.
Make a contraption here for video.
Yeah. So with me, I've been talking. I'm Das, right? With me, I've got Chris G from NASA Spaceflight. If we can get a NASA Spaceflight link into chat. Chris was actually setting up a remote camera here from this position because this is a fantastic position to see the rocket from. You're welcome, Jay. Somebody clip that and we'll send it to Jay. Wait, he should just watch the live stream and we can be like, is this correct?
This is, yeah, right. Man, he's not still on the plane. Yeah,
do you want me to document that you have the bubble level in the right position and stuff?
I do. I managed to get it perfect.
I'm gonna do.
We're gonna take pictures of him.
Look, for real.
Like,
For real. Look, see the bubble level?
Like,
Yeah.
we got it.
Yeah.
It's level. It
It's
might have
set
been
up
aimed in the
correctly.
right direction, but we got it.
The rocket's that way. I figured that out myself. Anyways, let me see what else we've got. If you have any questions, need to send you a tripod. When we move around this quickly, Zeeks, we have to be really fast. We don't have a lot of time to set up a tripod for these shots, so we just stay handheld so that we can point around. We may only have 10 minutes at each location, so to go out, get the tripod, set everything up, clip the broadcast units to it, yada yada yada, takes a little bit of time. So I'm just handheld for now. And then when I look away, like when I'm reading chat or I look somewhere else, I can't always keep it pointed exactly at the rocket.
What, Chris?
Yes.
You're not perfect, Doss?
I know, right? I know. God. About to launch. Now we're about 6.5 hours away. Hey, digital. Looks like we got some Skyliest flat earths in chat. Nice.
There always are.
Bubble level for your telescope. Nice. I'm gonna scroll through and see if I've got anything else. No hydrogen in this one. This is actually the rocket grade kerosene.
Yeah, this is rocket grade kerosene and super chilled liquid oxygen.
Yeah.
For this, so no hydrogen. No.
Yep, not on this one. Again, if there's any other questions, grab some stuff. There's a link to NASA spaceflight. It says rockets and spacecraft.
That's us.
Oh, look, they added the YouTube channel. It says now with the YouTube channel too.
Oh yes, we do.
Cool.
Yes. Oh
Excellent.
yeah, we've got some epic videos of the Starhopper.
Oh,
static
yeah.
tires and tethered hops on there. With a lot of things to Boca Chica Gal for those.
Yep. Where is the fuel stored? The fuel is actually stored in big tanks on the far side. We can't see them from here.
Well, and if we could, we cannot show you.
Yes.
But the basically, the liquid oxygen is over here.
Yep.
In
Oh,
its storage facility out
on one
toward
side of the pad.
northwest of the launch pad.
Yep.
You can also go to Google Earth and see all of these. So on Google Earth, if you find the big round white dome on the northwest side of the pad, that is the liquid oxygen storage facility. And the RP1 rocket grade kerosene farm here at 39A is on the opposite side, on the northeast side of the pad, right by where the old liquid hydrogen storage unit, which is still there, it just doesn't store hydrogen anymore because they don't need it for the Falcon 9s and Falcon Heavies.
Yep. Hey, Chad is asking how far away from the rocket we are right now. You see the rocks in front of us here? That's one of the sides of the crawlerway, back from the shuttle days. Yeah, the other track is back behind me. I can't turn the camera back around, but these rocks down here, those are the Tennessee River rocks, right? And that is actually the crawlerway. So I am standing on the grass between the two rock tracks of the crawlerway.
Basically, the crawler with the shuttle and the Saturn would come right over top of us.
We could like duck down and they would go over us.
One wheel over there, and the other wheel behind us,
So if you want to go on Google Maps and see how far, I would guess we're probably 350 yards away.
Very close.
Yeah.
I was going to say about 1,000 feet.
I grew up in South Texas, so it's all quarter miles and football fields are my units of measure.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to go and look on Google Earth, you can see sort of over here from the crawlerway how close we actually are. Can you see the crowd watching? No, brutal. We don't turn the camera around. Nobody's watching here. It's all working photographers are working to set up their remotes right now. And out of courtesy, we do not film the other photographers that are setting up. So not everybody wants to be on the camera, and we keep the camera pointed at the interesting thing, which is honestly the rocket, as it turns out.
So like between 1,300 and 1,700 feet.
Gotcha. 1,300 to 1,700 feet. Gotcha. I gotta say one more interesting fact, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong on this, right? Yeah, I know, right? I believe that Arabsat, that's on the top, like the actual it's getting to the point where it doesn't even want to zoom anymore. Arabsat that's in the payload fairing up there, right? When that unfurls its solar panels, when it deploys its solar panels, the wingspan, tip to tip of the solar panels for Arabsat is taller than the boosters on the side. It's 140 something feet tip to tip, if I understand correctly the size of the Arabsat.
Okay.
And the boosters are just over 100 something. I think they're 120, 130. So if I got the facts correct, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that the tip-to-tip solar array length of the satellite on top of Falcon Heavy is more than the height of the boosters. And I'm gonna...
Boosters are taller than that.
You think so?
Well, because I'm trying to orient myself. So the shuttle's wingspan was 122.
Yep.
So if you take one of those boosters and turn them...
I'm gonna kill the camera.
Like, and turn it horizontal...
Yep. Chat, can somebody look up...
I don't know. They might be a little bit bigger, but I don't know.
Look up the size of the boosters. Like, what is the height from the nose cone down to the bottom of the booster on a Falcon Heavy?
They're just a little bit bigger than 120.
It would be a lot taller on a regular Falcon 9 because it has the inner stage, right? But if somebody can get that, I think, I'm gonna guess I am gonna kill this camera. We have to mail the camera off and get it repaired, y'all. I apologize for the zooming. Okay.
It's about 130.
It's about 130.
So they are taller than the widest
tip to tip. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The shuttle orbiter, yeah.
Of the shuttle orbiter.
Yes.
Okay.
The shuttle orbiter.
And if I'm not
And
mistaken,
Falcon Heavy itself, like from its engine to the tip of the payload fairing,
right,
is taller.
Is a little bit taller. Gotcha, gotcha.
Where the crew access arm is right now, right? That
right.
swings over. Right, that's where the Gox vent hood was, that would position directly over top of the external.
Gotcha.
Tip of the external.
The tip of the tank. Gotcha.
One more thing. The boosters
about 140 feet.
Are the same diameter as the shuttle boosters.
Oh, and they are. Oh yeah, and the boosters are the same diameter as the shuttle boosters because they have to be able to fit through a mountain. Yeah. Sorry, we're nerding out on like really minute specifics of like the shuttle versus the Falcon Heavy.
So we've got a couple different answers in chat. Some people are saying that it's 140 feet tall, and then some people are saying it's 230 feet tall. I'd like to have a verified answer to that because I want to know the answer. I want to know the answer. I think that it's more than 140 feet for the solar panel array wingspan on the Arabsat, and I want to see like an actual documented source on what the height of the booster is. EJ can text me too. I think I can get a text message. EJ probably knows that off the top of his head. How are we doing on time, Chris? Are we?
We're good.
All right, good.
No one's telling us to. James is just watching us. So we're all good.
All right, excellent. And are we all still? That looks good there. Yeah, there we go. All right. Let me make sure we're all still good. Do you have no, you don't have shorts on. You have long pants.
You have to have.
Yeah.
Pants on out there.
Yeah.
I wore shorts last year, and I was told that I violated CAD rules.
Yep.
Really?
Oh yeah.
After the fact.
Oh, and NASA's really specific. Like sometimes.
Yeah.
That all looks like it's still good, right?
Is there a problem with chat?
Oh no, somebody said it lost the signal, but I don't know. Like, did we drop the signal for a second? I don't think so. So Wikipedia says Falcon 9 full thrust is 71 meters, 233 from the boosters to the payload fairing. So I'm gonna think it's 150 or less for the height of the booster, like the first stage.
I mean, Brady said about 130.
About 130? Yeah. All right, so that's from the Wikipedia, but that's the entire height of the rocket if it's from the payload fairing up to the or down to the actual engines. And I am gonna, yeah. All right, we have to get the new camera. It's like the more you use it, the worse it gets there. I think I got it to finally stick.
Is this the one I used for the?
Yeah, it's the same one you used.
Oh wow.
Yep.
I'm glad I didn't have any issues.
Any issues with it? Yeah. And then we'll be using the other camera for the long range camera for the stream later.
The DOS super zoom, as we call it. Yeah.
Put the space bar already. Somebody push the space bar. I do not want to be here when this rocket goes. I want to be a lot further away than right here when the rocket launches. I'll tell you what. Is that part of Florida in spring? The bugs are a menace. The bugs are definitely a menace out here. Yeah.
Any time of year except what Florida considers to be winter.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right, we'll get some really good short every time. I'm not even doing that, Chad. It just automatically wants to start zooming out. So I need to mail it in and get it repaired, right? But if I mail it in, there's so much spaceflight stuff going on that I can't,
right.
You know?
Right.
It's just straight up stuck in zoom out mode right now.
Well,
All right.
you can enjoy what we're seeing.
Yeah, we'll zoom all the way in. No, I got it. It's either zoom all the way out or zoom all the way in. So guess which one we're going to choose?
Zoom in. See those pretty little grid fins.
Oh, yeah. There you go, chat. Look, this is a cool shot right there. With the crew access arm and the grid fins and. That's pretty fantastic. Maybe it'll behave for a second. What's the local time here? It's about 12:07 p.m. right now. So we got about a window opens in 6.5 hours, roughly. 6.5 hours till the window opens. Yeah, there's the zoom. Nice. If it's your job, a second camera is a tax write-off. I actually have another camera, Hypnos, on my back right now. That's the long-range camera we're going to use for the launch. So we do have a different camera for the launch. It'd be a great apartment. Nice. All right. What?
The hip?
I think they're talking about the crew access arm.
Oh, the crew access arm.
It'd be great to have an apartment in the crew access arm. Is the Silver Spot new hardware on top of the fairing, or is it just unpainted?
It's not. So it's new-ish. It first appeared on the GP, I believe, on the GPS 3.
Right.
Launched back in December.
Ready to go.
Where we had our
All right, chat. Hey, we just got the word that it's time for us to wrap it up here. Again, we're at pad 39A. That's the SpaceX Falcon Heavy. We'll be launching 6.5 hours. We've got Chris. We've got Chris G from NASA Spaceflight right there. Thank you, Chris.
As always, all I wanted to say is, like, this is going to conclude our live stream because this is our last location. So
Yep.
we're going back to the press site, and then we have to leave and go eat before coming back.
Yep.
Because eating is important. And but join us back here at roughly 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 p.m. UTC time for the start of our live stream of the launch. We're going to bring you fueling, the entire fueling process and everything, all the way from liftoff through till we get confirmation that the center core has landed on the ASDS. Of course, I still love you, and we'll go from there. But definitely come back and join us at 5:30 for our launch live stream.
Yep. So we're gonna get out of here, chat. It's time for us to camera off. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Massive thanks for SpaceX for allowing us to come out here and bring this live stream to you. I'm Doss. We're gonna switch back over to the donation screen again. Check out NASA Spaceflight. Check out Vectors. This is a virtual field trip. We really appreciate y'all for joining us out here at pad 39A.